Hello, beautiful InvoiceShelf community. Welcome back for yet another video tutorial. So this video is specifically for the people who have been on InvoiceShelf before and are using the Docker. So when I say before, I mean any version that is 2.1.1 and earlier. So if you have been on the Docker image that is 2.1.1 and earlier, this video is for you. So you may have noticed that since the 1st of September 2025, we have made some changes to how the Docker images are now created and run. So the prior Docker image was based on a Debian bookworm as the base image. Now, however, we have made some changes, and if we look at the upgrade guide, which is actually available under InvoiceShelf community on GitHub and in a Docker repository, so that's github.com/InvoiceShelf/Docker. If you land on this page, you will most likely see the upgrade guide.md, which is basically this link over here. So if we click on that, it will give you all of the details that you will need to know about the migration. But the most important notes that you need to know now in order to do the migration over from 2.1.1 to the later images is what I'm going to go through in this video. So the most important thing is obviously the fact that we're changing the base image from the Debian bookworm to Alpine Nginx with FPM support. Sorry, PHP Nginx and FPM support. So one thing that you need to be aware of is that this is a non-rooted image. So that means that unlike the previous image where you were able to run sudo commands or you were technically able to run under root, this is not going to be possible anymore in this image. So this image is going to open interactive shell in www data, which is actually one thing to note is the user ID 82. So reason I'm actually noting it down is because the old image was setting www data under the ID of 1000, which is not going to be compatible with the new image. So unfortunately, the migration is not as simple as just swapping over the volumes from the data to var www HTML storage, as it is stated over here, which is something that I'm obviously going to go through and show you how to do. This is only for the storage though. There are also some changes to how SQL paths are managed. So before it used to be in the conf database SQLite. The new path is now data app database SQLite. So this is something that you would need to be aware of, and obviously the app itself is going to be stored within the storage. All right, so if you're using SQLite, this section is also going to be applicable. What I am doing right now with the storage is going to be exactly the same that you're going to be doing with the uh, with your SQLite path. So I'm not going to cover that here. However, if there is enough interest, I will do this one as well. There is no longer going to be config folder, so this is something to be aware of. Everything is going to be stored in here, var www HTML storage app, and there are some changes, of course, to the Docker Compose as well. So this is just some of the things that have changed. I'm not going to go through all of them. The most important one, and I think most people will probably be running something like MySQL database. So this is the one that I'm going to be going over with you now. Sorry if there was a lot of blubbering. The most important stuff that we're going to go through now is going to be this. So currently I am inside the Coolify dashboard, but for you, if you're just simply running it on something like Proxmox or maybe some other Docker management platform, steps might differ a little bit, but hopefully not too much, so you can follow along. So right now I am running a latest legacy version, which is currently 2.1.1. What you need to do is you need to run so you need to change the compose file first. So uh, be sure to change from latest to from latest to whichever version it is. So probably 2.2.2 2.2.0. But in my case, because 2.2.0 is not yet out, I'm just going to change it over to nightly. And then once you change it to nightly, you need to change over your named volume for for storage from from data to var www html storage. So in my case, I already have it commented out, so I just basically comment this one and then comment out this one, and then save. Now, before we do anything further, uh, so in my case, that's just editing the Docker Compose file. We haven't run Docker Compose down yet. That's something important. We just changed the Docker Compose file. So now what I want to do, and what you would want to do as well, is you want to go into the interactive shell of your container. And what you want to do is do the ownership changes on the data file, oh sorry, data folder, before we're going to do Docker Compose down and then up again. So I'm just waiting for the container to spin up, and once it does, which it already did, we can run the command bash so that we have a more pleasant shell to work with as opposed to just sh. So if we have a look right now, we are inside the actual root directory of the application. We want to navigate ourselves to the root folder. So cd root and then data. Okay, and then ls.la. So you can see that the folder is currently owned by the root, so we might want to even change that. And everything inside of this folder is owned by the InvoiceShelf user. Now, InvoiceShelf user will likely be different from the actual user we will be using on the next image. So what we want to do is we want to type in own to change ownership, then hyphen capital R, that's to make sure that everything recursively is changed inside the folder. And as opposed to giving the user, we are actually going to give a user ID. Now, the reason why is because in this image, www data is actually user ID 1000. Whereas in the new image, we are going to be having the www data under the user ID 82. So because it will conflict with what we have right now, we need to change that. So as opposed to saying www data, we're going to say 82 column 82. All right. So this is going to be the new user. So we're setting own recursively to the user group 82 and user 82. And we're setting it on a root data folder, right? So the folder we are in right now, data, yeah. So the entire folder and what's inside of it will be owned by 8282, which in the future is going to be the user www data. So once you hit enter and then ls.la, you can see that the ownership has changed. All of the files and folders inside of the data folder are now owned by the user ID 82 group 82. So what we want to do now is exit the interactive shell, and we want to stop the container. So we're going to run stop, continue, continue. So in this case, what this command, what me clicking on stop did is what for you would have been just Docker Compose down, right? So we're just shutting down all of the containers, and sort of wiping the slate clean, so to speak. Right. So what it did here is it created a sort of like a appendix container for me. We don't want that. That's just uh, idiocracies of the Coolify. Right, so now that we did that, all we have to do now is just double check that the volume is mapped onto the var www HTML storage, which in our case it is. Fantastic. And now that we confirmed that we are on the latest available image, so in your case it might be 2.2.0 or above. In my case it is nightly, don't mind that. Okay, Now we're going to run the deploy. Coolify will do the pull of the images, so it will download, in my case, the nightly build. In your case, it will be the latest available, or the latest stable, I should say. It might take a moment, so I'm going to pause the video. Actually, maybe not that long. Okay, I will wait. It shouldn't take long, to be honest. Okay, and once it does that, it's going to start the containers. Okay, it began the initialization of containers. And okay, the InvoiceShelf container is now running. Let's stream the logs. So now it should work just fine. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, so it's already running. Fantastic. Yeah, so in my case, that's it. It seems to have now set everything correctly. Okay, so we have some problem. No available server. This is probably because we're also changing something internally in terms of the port numbers. So let me just double check the documentation over here. Let's see, MySQL, are we changing ports? Yes, we do. So now it's not port 80, it's port 3306. Okay, that's not a problem. So all I have to do on Coolify, and this is only for me, this is not something that you need to do, but I want to display it to you so that you can see that everything is working as intended. Let's see, hold on, 3306, was I looking at the wrong thing? I was indeed looking at the wrong thing, apologies. Yeah, so it's now 8080. My apologies. I'm just used to the fact that I put all of the application services above and databases below. So yeah, it's actually port 8080. So if anyone was screaming at the screen saying, "No, this is the wrong port," yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So service fully qualified domain name invoice shelf on port 8080. And if we save that. Okay. This is, again, this is only for me. You don't have to do it. I just want to complete the installation so that I can demonstrate to you that everything is working as intended. Hopefully it will. Um, but let's see. Right, so that part is usually taking a while. Just give me a second. And I'm back. All right, so it seems to be it seems to have completed the restart. So that's equivalent to Docker Compose restart. Um, and we're just waiting for it to start up. So if I check the logs, it should be running now. Yes. So if we check the configuration, it still thinks it's starting. Why is it? Right. Okay. I think I know why it thinks it's still starting. It probably thinks that it's still starting because the health check is actually different. So let me get back inside the container if it will allow me. Coolify does this every so often. Okay, give me a second. And I'm back. Apologies. Sometimes Coolify is just having a bit of a temper tantrum when it comes to the terminals. But here we are. So if we are to run curl localhost, I'm assuming localhost 8080. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. So yeah, it is on port 8080 and it's probably going to be, let's have a look, edit compose. Yeah, so I'm not doing port 8080, that's the problem. Okay, and once we run the health check properly now, so do a restart, and I'm back. All right, right, so it seems to have restarted, so it's now starting up. It should, in a moment, show itself as running healthy. The reason why I'm looking for it to actually running healthy is because if Coolify doesn't detect the health check as good, it will actually fail. So we don't want that. So I'm just waiting for it to, there we go, now it's running healthy and the server should become available. Fantastic, there we go. So now if we check the settings, it probably is, yeah, so it shows 2.2.2 alpha. Fantastic, that's basically it. That's all you have to do. I'm going to upload this video to YouTube sometime today, which is the 5th of September. I need to create a thumbnail for it. But yeah, if not today, then definitely tomorrow. So that's the video, and I hope it was useful. All right, have a good one. Take care.